We're here. We're in the building. Just in case any ladies come in, put a little cologne on. So, my brother, before we get started, please let the people know where your channel is, where they can find you.
For sure, for sure.
A little bit for the people who are a little slow.
Yeah, no. Channel name is called Dallas or Danish Dallas, Danish, Dallas, Dallas, because that's the city I'm from, and my name is Danish. So just representing the good old state of Texas.
I bet. Now, just so you know, there's a little bit of lagging, but don't worry, it doesn't show up in the video for some reason.
All right. Okay.
Bit. So the name of the video that we're going to be talking about, guys, and make sure you like and subscribe to both channels. Danish, that's Danish, Dallas, Dallas. Make sure you subscribe to his channel and my channel. We're going to be talking about Trump today, obviously. He was talking tariffs. He was talking Texas. He was talking about TikTok. So if you could just get us started on just what's going on. What did you see during the inauguration? Just feel free to go in. Let's just talk.
Yeah, for sure. So let me touch upon the first thing. You mentioned tariffs, right? So tariffs is something that is going to be implemented on three countries specifically. One is Canada, number two is Mexico, and number three is China. China is going to get the benefit of having the lowest tariffs, 10%. And the reason why that is because of the fentanyl crisis that is affecting and killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, and it's a huge problem. Now, with both Canada as well as Mexico, it is at a flat rate of 25%, which is coming into implementation on February 1st, which is in less than 10 days.
Okay.
In 10 days, Canada and obviously the Canadian Prime Minister is panicking. Mexico is panicking, and I think that it is good for a lot of strategic. It's good for us from a very strategic point of view because we need to cut down the flow of fentanyl. That's number one. Number two, it impacts and benefits us that if we make Canada go broke, it's a much easier bargaining chip for us to buy out at a lower price and take advantage of some of the assets that Canada has, because Canada owes us a lot of money, and over $200 billion worth of trade deficit is happening with Canada as a whole, and I think that it's just about time that we equalize that, and if not, then what we got to do is we have to buy it out, and it's in America's long-term interest as well, because we want to be out of this is an American continent. We want to keep it as an American continent. We do not want European influences, because if you have European influences, then we are dragged in by virtue of being influenced by Europe into their wars and into their conflicts. We have a whole different, and that's what Trump keeps talking about, the ocean in between us, the Atlantic and the Pacific, which is a huge barrier for any other country to come in. So why are we having European influence on our land when we can just, do our own thing?
So let me ask you a question. That's a very good point. Many people don't know MAGA, my G. You see what they said? MAGA, my G. MAGA in the building. So a lot of people did not know that Europe was influencing a lot of America. They always think it's China or the Middle East or something like that. But Europe has had their hand in our pockets, correct?
We are in alliances with Europe via NATO, and at this point in time, they have to pay, more than 2% of share, because we are spending a lot of money, right? Like even Biden before leaving, he spent what, $200 billion of American tax dollars to fund Ukrainian war, and Ukraine is losing territory. It's not gaining anything. So we are now losing money as well as losing territory via Ukraine as well. So it doesn't make any sense for us to be involved in any of this business. That $200 billion should be in our pocket, because we're suffering from inflation, high costs of living. When places like Costco, right? I was just at Costco today. Now, the Coke that you buy from Costco, it used to cost 69 cents.
How
Now
many?
it's up to 79 cents. So I mean, it's gone up quite a bit, and the cost of living has gone up. So why are we spending all this money, printing money, sending it to Ukraine, and then funneling it back into the United States via money laundering schemes that we have going on?
Hey,
We should be
so
involved.
whenever you see some of the comments in there, let's grab some of these trolls too. Don't let's grab them by the collar. So somebody, I don't know if you can you see the comments?
Yeah, I see it. Greenland about to be the new Puerto Rico. I don't think this is I don't think this is wrong. I think that that assessment is probably correct. I think Greenland
Okay,
will
tell
be.
me about that.
Yeah, well, Greenland would be something of a Puerto Rico, I think, because we're technically going to own Greenland, but I don't think that we would allow it yet to become a full-fledged state of the United States.
So they're
Now, it may
basically making
happen in the near future, but
live.
I think it might just be just for the time being, it might just become a Puerto Rico for us.
Okay.
That point is correct. Greenland is more closely aligned to be what the status of Puerto Rico would be.
What's up, Mariam? How you doing, Queen? How's it going? Uh, he said that's correct. My bad. I guess these people know what they're saying. And
Yep.
now, okay. So what's your answer? What are you asking? AG is trash. What? Okay. What are you asking? Ask your question. I didn't see it. Maybe let me go back. Let me see what did he
Yeah,
say.
I didn't see no question here. I just saw the Greenland. I saw the MAGA, my G's, yo, Greenland, about to be the new Puerto Rico. Correct. Answer me now. I don't know what the question is. Happy to see if I can get some information.
Okay. Until he put his answer up there, everybody, please make sure you like and subscribe. Again, my partner is at Danish Dallas DANISHDALLAS Danish Dallas. Now, let me ask you a question. So you heard Trump signing executive orders at the same time he was entertaining the press. What did you make of that?
I think it showed me that an 82-year-old got way more energy than I ever had, to
That's
be
a
honest
fact.
with you. From the morning to all the executive orders to the inauguration, this man has been at work day and night. Today, he just announced $500 billion worth of AI investment, starting with Texas, where they're going to build one of the largest AI infrastructures in the world. And I think this is great. I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, $500 billion is is a lot of money, and this is just
A lot of money.
one project which is going to work for us in many ways, because I think one of the biggest problems that America is facing right now is the health crises within our land. With AI is going to actually make it a lot more efficient and faster. We can cure cancer. We can splice up DNA and things of that nature. So I think it's a wonderful technology if you use it right, and we need to have the infrastructure for it. And I think like day two, and he's already signing $500 billion worth of deals. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, this means that every year we're going to have $100 billion be invested into the American. We got to be investing into the American economy.
What did Mr. Fuck the Dilla? I don't know what that says. What did he say?
You lisping. You got to stop polishing the MAGA knob. I think he's just
Wow.
trolling. But these are the kind of haters, right? Like when they had their office, when they had their president, they were just busy
Yeah.
sending money to Ukraine and getting their butts handed to them. And
These
now we're in a
people
winning
are
situation. The
delusional.
golden age of America is about to start, and these are the people that are now just trying to troll because they got nothing better going on in their life. They're not contributing
Okay,
anything positive. They have no ideas. They just want to get personal, attack you, and it is what it is. But we're gonna
let,
do great things.
let me ask you
Great
this.
time to be an American.
Because everybody's looking at him like Santa Claus. What does he got in his bag for me? So for the people who could care less about the border, the people who can care less about genders and all of that, they wanted to hear when did the TikTok bill. And Trump, when he placed the bill down, he says, "Oh, there goes the TikTok." What did you think about his feelings? How is he gonna? Do, so if you are answering the question basically, do you feel yay more or nay more? Is he going to get rid of TikTok, or do you think he'll keep it?
I think that he announced he wants a deal done. Within 90 days, he wants a deal done, which would be beneficial for both parties. Because, look, at the end of the day, he's a businessman, right? With social media, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, you don't want to restrict free speech, right?
Right?
What YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, what they were doing was they were restricting the sitting president. They were curtailing freedom of speech for the average American. And I think TikTok is a great platform where you can express your opinions, even if you disagree with the liberal views or they disagree with you. But at least you have the ability to debate people, to jump on. It's a great platform. It has a lot of value. But now, if that value does not benefit the American, it makes sense for us to cut a deal with them for whatever that price may be, whoever the potential buyers may be, and get it off the hands of the Singaporean CEO and make it a joint venture with United States owning 50%. So I think it's a great deal. I think you just got to work out a deal, and whatever that number is, whoever is invested involved in it, then that's great for them. But it doesn't reduce our capability. It only enhances us more because it gives us an additional platform where we have ability to speak freely on it without being banned and censored, like on the previous applications that I mentioned before.
So you moving more towards he's going to keep TikTok.
100%.
Okay. So for all yous out there, and obviously I don't want TikTok to go as well. I also believe that this president is very reasonable, and he can bargain with you. So I believe he's willing to make a deal and keep TikTok around. So that will probably be not a huge issue. I wanted to ask you about another. Make sure everybody like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe uh, to Donna's channel as well. DANISHDALLAS. Donish Dallas. Um, Obviously at YouTube. Now let me ask you another question. As it relates to him bringing in investors, I want to ask you another question too. If you just give me a moment, is that a good thing, or is he doing a little bit too much, bringing in investors?
I think it's a fantastic thing.
Okay,
Because think of it like a sword and shield kind of a strategy, right? Where he's implementing tariffs, which then restricts companies to come in. So that's kind of our shield.
gotcha.
And then once you're building in the United States, infrastructure, all of these sort of facilities that are going to be built, plants that are going to be built. People, average Americans are going to build them. Black, Hispanic, Asian American. I mean, you name it. They're the ones that are going to be heavily involved in building these facilities because now we're going to have hundreds of thousands of jobs that are going to be relocated back in. So it not only creates an opportunity for us to build infrastructure, but it also gives us leverage that Americans will be hired for those jobs as well. So we need more money to come in. The money that is floating around, look, at the end of the day, from a business point of view, as a businessman, you're making investments. Those investments that you are making, you want a return on investment. You don't care where that investment is coming from, which country it's coming from, as long as you're making a decent sized return on your capital. And that capital is now flowing into the United States because we're gonna give them a great return on their money. So, and at the same time, people are going to benefit from jobs with tax cuts coming in, external revenue services that department being created. We're going to reduce internal taxes. We're going to increase tariffs, and we're basically going to force every sort of country or big major company to have regional offices and headquarters set up eventually in the United States as
Now
well. And that is the long-term game
I
plan.
believe, and I don't mean to diss anybody, but I believe Americans have been fed so much BS so long that when a president comes by and says the right thing, they think this is some sort of joke. Oh, he can't externally tariff people and tax them and not us. This is the way it used to be,
Right.
and so people are thinking it's almost too good to be true type of deal.
And I think there's a lot of tribal mentality involved in it as well, right? Like we're just on the Democrats, so that's just the way we're gonna vote. We're gonna think that way. We're gonna be in our echo chambers and things of that nature. So that's a part of the problem. And when you are hitting them with ideas, concepts, philosophies that are very different from what they're used to hearing, the first sort of reaction is always a defensive reaction, where it's just like you are stupid, or like how this Mr. Funkadelic is talking about. But instead of just listening and comprehending that these are ideas that is going to benefit me, my family, my country, I mean, there are fantastic opportunities. This is a If you have traveled like how I have traveled, I've lived in four different countries growing up, and not just like for a day or a month. I'm talking about a decade, for months, years on end. And I can tell you, no,
You
buddy,
see what-
only you're butthurt. That's what you keep commenting, man. I ain't offended
You're
at all. I mean, you're a low IQ dude, so it is what it is, man. But I'll keep it real with you. So, but that's the problem, man. And the thing is that, look,
AG said they asking you a question. What's your question, AG?
yeah. So
What's your
once
question?
he pops the question,
VFR 1200. What's going on? It says SEAL Team 6 gonna be busy south of the border. You ain't lying.
yeah,
Cartel
man. I think
trouble.
you got a good point. I think
Talk to that.
we have to deploy the military, and we have to push them back, because now we have. He has designated the cartels as a foreign terrorist organization. If the narco states, and Mexico happens to be a narco state, if this does not curtail and more children and kids and American citizens are dying, I have no problem asking or demanding our president to go in and kill the heads of these cartels, and send a strong signal and message, because we cannot have that. 100,000 people dying. It's a crisis of. We are going to be killing more people than we have lost in world wars. That's a
That's a fact.
crazy, crazy concept to think about. And all of this fentanyl is coming from China. And so tariffs, again, going back to the first thing, right? The tariffs are going to help reduce that. And I think we should be sending in more
So
military personnel down there to reduce or demolish or destroy their facilities,
let
their
me ask you
their
this: would
leaders.
we be helping Mexico if we sent in the military and basically got control of the cartel and handed back over to the military? Wouldn't that be helping them?
No, I think what you need to do is you need to send a strong signal. And the way you're going to send a strong signal is that you're going to just make sure that you destroy the heads of the cartels. Now, you're not going to eliminate the problem completely, but if that's the if you do not do any business, or you tariff them at a very high rate, then they have no choice. They have to get out of this business. It's like what the
Are
Taliban
you
did in
saying
Afghanistan.
Mexico or the cartel?
The cartel is running the government.
Okay,
They're the primary funders of a lot of the campaigns. So the question is, like, how the Taliban got out of the opium business. The Mexicans have to get out of the drug business. That's just the way it is.
right.
Or you tariff them and get money out of them, and they're getting money out of us. So you do the same thing to them until they
Okay.
drop this habit.
You. So before we move off of the cartel situation, is this something likely that Trump is going to do? Is he going to put, because obviously we don't want him leave office and the border goes right back to where it was. And no disrespect to the black guys out there, but it's kind of like the drug dealers, like, right? You lock up a few. They got some other young niggas out there, and these niggas are selling just like the other guys who left. And the cartels are the same way. You get a few out, here come a few more. Is there a way for us to really hurt the cartels where it's damn near impossible for them to ever be the way that they used to be?
Build a wall, secure the flow of trafficking from the southern border and the northern border, from sea routes, air routes, everywhere else. You just airtight that. Put a lot of tariffs on, put a lot of pressure on, diplomatic pressure, military pressure, economic pressure,
Do you think
until
scaring Americans by putting troops on the border?
you have to. You have to. I mean, on the southern border, you
Well,
have to
that power vacuum. Go ahead.
build you have until you get your infrastructure in place. You have to deploy. I mean, the Mexicans are doing this. The Mexicans have deployed about 28,000 soldiers to prevent the influx of illegal migration. So we have to, at least till we get everything in order, have to deploy some soldiers and troops.
Now
I
let
know
me
Texas is
ask
doing that.
this is a little bit off of the topic. Trump says that he believes close to 800,000 Russian soldiers. I did not know that. I was thinking they lost at least maybe about 20,000 to 30,000. What he said is somewhere up into the 800,000, along with Ukraine lost about the same amount. What are those numbers real? And he also said something I really respect. He said, y'all in the US, he echoed what some people were saying. We haven't told the American people the truth about how many people are actually dying in Russia, Ukraine. What say you on that topic?
I think war is an expensive endeavor, and the most expensive thing you could sacrifice is a life. Life is sacred. Life is given to us by God, and I think that
Are those numbers correct? You think
I
though?
think it
Not?
could be more, it could be around those figure, it could be less, but regardless, it should have never even started. Whether it's a 20,000, whether it's 800,000, I think the number is very high. It's just that we're not able to get a lot of data. It was the same thing in Palestine, right? We're talking about, 10,000, this and that, but it's actually a lot more.
So
Figures are coming up. It's always going to be higher than they're going to be on the lower spectrum.
I heard it was, and this was an exact number, 47,707 people was reported on France 24, Algeria, Front Post, even BBC, and pretty much every other news channel except ours. That's a lot of people to have died. Damn near 50,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the worst tragedies of war is like, how VFR 1200 said, is a whole generation of people that are gone. These are
A
young
whole
people who could have
generation.
had
People,
families.
grandmother,
The-
great grandmother, big mama,
right. I mean, these are
cornerstone,
people who could have had kids, who could have had a lineage, something to look forward to in the future.
fiancés,
And now they're gone, and you can never get that back. Infrastructure, land, you can build it back up again, but you cannot get, once you're gone, you're gone. You can never come back. It's generations of people just destroyed. Like,
I want to ask,
imagine how many surnames
you said
are
generations of
they
Ukraine
ended.
gone. Horrible. That's true. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? Like, how many surnames are never going to be, that's the end of the line for them,
Right.
and that's tragic.
Let me ask you a question. And you can say how you feel. I'll go on a record. I feel Israel has ran its course. They've made too many enemies. 1200 said, "What's up with them drone s news?" Got you want
Yeah,
to?
I think he's got to release the information on the drones. He has the I think he has the briefing. If not, then he should be releasing it shortly. And I think that's one of the things he has promised. So it's just a matter of time before he releases it. Yeah.
I feel Israel has ran its course. The ICC, nearly 88, 90% of the country supports a two-state solution. Most of the countries believe that they've committed war crimes, up from South Africa to Italy. Uh, Netanyahu is in court right now in his own court. The Knesset want answers. There's a lot of drama happening. Is Israel, and apparently Trump is not catering to them as we thought. Is Israel in trouble this time around in the Trump administration?
I don't think Israel is in any major trouble. Personally, I think that Israel is only going to grow in power because under the Abraham Accord, that now even Saudi. Okay, once Saudi Arabia normalizes relationship, that is a signal to the rest of the Muslim world that you have to now also normalize relationship with Israel as well, because Saudi Arabia is the Sunni world's hegemon, right? By controlling both Mecca and Medina and being the largest oil exporter, one of the largest oil exporters in the world, and being the ruler of a very large Muslim country, you are now signaling to the world that, hey, we're going to normalize relationships, so everyone else is going to eventually fall in line. And and um uh, you know and I think that at this point in time we have to be careful, and Trump has to play a neutral strategy in this. One of the things that he said was he wants to be a peacemaker, and that's the legacy he wants to leave his presidency with, that he wants to be a peacemaker. If he can accomplish a
Netanyahu's out of control. How do you be a peacemaker when he does what he wants to do?
who
Netanyahu.
Yeah, I think there are ways you can rein them in, but I think the problem is really with the Senate more than anything else, right? If you're going to have a lot of laws you need to pass, I would rather pass them first, and then once they're passed and being implemented, then you can tackle the issue of Israel, because you don't need to pass any bills, right? And that's one of the strategy points where you don't have to put the cart before the horse, but Israel has to be reined in as well. It's not a sustainable model for them. It's not sustainable for Middle East. And eventually other countries, especially the Muslim world, is when they can't produce and sell a lot of their oil because of the US becoming the largest exporter of oil, they're losing a lot of leverage as well in the world. So I mean, you have to come to a peace agreement at some point or another. And so I think that's that's
Question.
what it is.
So Trump is sucking up all of the oxygen right now.
Yeah,
Can BRICS continue to be this rising? I mean, they were out here looking like, the Lakers at some point. I mean, they've, great uh, pieces that they have and powers with them. Will Trump suck the energy out of BRICS and bring people back to the American table? Or do you think they can
100%.
at the same time?
Money is a zero sum game right now, and if he's drawing in a lot of the money back into the United States, it does not leave a lot of room for other countries to be able to invest. He has spoken very highly of other nations, but at the end of the day, he does not want the dollar replaced, which is a big thing. It's still going to be the reserve currency. The businesses are going to be launched in the United States. They're going to be functioning and running out of the United States. So that creates a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities, a lot of beachheads on our soil, which is great for companies because we want them to do business, but we want them to do business within the United States soil. So that leaves a lot of countries out. So like Brazil, Russia, India, China, and so on and so forth. Now, having said all of this, those countries will now be investing in our economy, which is what we want. We want them to be tied into our economy, so that way there's a lot of option that we have. So
I
that's what I think.
for you. Marco Rubio, was that a good choice?
I think so. I think so. Marco Rubio has come a long way. I think Marco Rubio. I remember watching Marco Rubio. When he was repeating the same line again and again. During the 2016 presidential campaign. It's a very different Marco Rubio. He's saying a lot of good things, and I think that Marco Rubio is a very strong contender. I listened to some of the things that he was saying as a Secretary of State, and I'm very happy with that choice. I think he's a great choice, and he's the way he's articulating the points with a lot of facts, a lot of knowledge. I think
Did you
he's a
see what
great choice.
1200 said? Do you agree with him?
Yeah, BRICS is a house of cards. I mean, they're look. They all rely, like for example, like let's take a look. Right, Brazil relies on America more than America relies on Brazil. Russia, same thing. India, same thing. India definitely relies on America and the IT sector. If we do not bring in all of these foreign talent from via H-1B visa, they really aren't offering much to the United States. Same thing with China.
What do you think about Pete says that the Pentagon is going to be put in order? That's a hard task.
It is
Uh,
a hard task. It is a hard task because you have a lot of bureaucracy. Military generally tends to be very bureaucratic, just like the banks, and um, and I think that you're going to have a hard time. But I don't think it's an impossible task. It's just a very difficult task. So he needs not just support, but he needs the backing of the presidency to put things in order. Now, for example, Trump has just fired the head of the National Guard, which was like a DEI hire, and he has replaced it with somebody who I don't know much about, but I'll have to read up on that person. But I think that's a good signal. And you need to have a strong military, but that military also needs to be very versatile, because what you're doing is you're setting up layers after layers, and the information is now moving up and down very rapidly, and you need to get rid of those layers. So either you end the wokeness, you end all of this corruption, and you know what, it doesn't give a lot of opportunities to hardworking people to move up the ranks as well, because the talent gets stuck at the bottom. It doesn't work its way to the top, because those people who get the work done, they're not very political, and the people who are extremely political, they're not very efficient or hardworking, because they're trying to preserve their position. So I think that you have to remove a good portion of the top brass and these corrupt military officials and personnel who are just sucking the life out of the military, and revamp it in a way that is going to represent the golden age of America.
I got a question for you, and then I got to ask for a follow up question. I got a lot of things to ask you. So the House and the Senate right now are really set up nicely. They have power, and you have uh, Mike Johnson, and then you have Thune, I believe his name is,
Hmm.
one from Louisiana and South Dakota. Now, this is the 119th Congress. How important of a role are they going to play? Because this is the Trump show. However, you got to work with Congress. You'll be barking up a really bad tree if you're not getting along with Congress. I believe that they're on board with him. I believe they're going to do more than what he wants. But how important does the Senate have to be in order for Trump to really, really, I mean, take it, get it to
I
him?
think you have 47 people who are going to fall in line, and you're going to have about 3 or 4 individuals who are going to give you some hard time. And depending on what and why they're giving you a hard time for, is it because they're trying to negotiate something for their state? Is it that they are rhinos, Republican in name only, or are they basically corrupt? They want deals done, and they're trying to basically consolidate power. Whatever it may be, then Trump has to deal with it accordingly. If they are now technically rhinos, then you have to run a campaign against them, call them out, and make sure that they lose the next election. But when it comes to genuine reasons, right? Like as a senator, you're like, hey, I'm representing this state, and I have these concerns. Then he should be able to negotiate a deal with them.
What do you think about what 1200 says?
Johnson Thune got to get the votes, or no long term changes happen. Yeah, I mean you need the votes obviously, but like you don't have a 60-40 kind of a ratio, right? You have a 51-52 max, and 47 will go along, and you know, two of them, three of them, if they don't give you that vote, then the Democrats ain't going to give you those votes, so now you're stuck, you can't get the bill passed. So that's what I'm saying, that you got to then look at these 3 or 4 senators who are basically building roadblocks, and try to figure out, is it genuinely that they are concerned about their state or some genuine cause, or are they just rhinos, or are they traitors, or what is it? And then you got to deal with them accordingly.
Okay, question. Barack Obama, I, I don't know. He's got a little bit more credit back from me. He went to Jimmy Carter's funeral. He sat there without his wife. That's uncomfortable. I don't want to be at a goddamn funeral without my wife. Type of shit is that, okay? But okay, fine. She didn't show up at a damn funeral. I mean, come on. Really? The man is dead. He's a president. You don't show up because maybe she just wants to sit next to Trump. Okay, fine. Then on top of that, you don't show up to the inauguration. No disrespect. Is this just some goddamn foolishness? Uh,
I heard something different.
Everybody else's wife showed up. You
I
know,
think I heard something different. I heard that her and Barack are going through a divorce.
Jesus Christ.
I think that's the reason why she didn't show up. But I don't know. I mean, that's one family I'm not really too
Oh,
invested in, because they're no longer in power. They're just gone. And
I believe that's true. Honestly, me personally, with the research I've done, I honestly believe that that couple somehow had a lot of baggage before they even stepped on the scene, and we had no idea what the hell was going on. We were just too starstruck. Oh, this is a black guy and a black woman, and no disrespect, I believe the politics know. Now, oh, I got a question for you. Okay, they went and got this other nigga. What's his name? Uh, uh, Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, this nigga is in charge of the house. Now, wait a minute. The reason I'm asking, because any other time when he was trying to get in charge, they said, "No, we don't want you. Sit your ass down. You're not." Now all of a sudden, shit is fucked up. The Democrats are leaking. They're hemorrhaging. Now they're like, "Okay, Jeffries, you go in there." What the hell is Jeffries gonna do?
I don't think you can do much right now, because he's a minority leader, not a majority leader. I mean, there's not much he can do at this point in time, anyways. I mean, he's just
Hakeem.
right now they're trying to play politics, and I think that what one of the main things that I keep thinking about is what the left, or the Democrats and the liberals, are not understanding, is that this is a very serious moment in American history. This is not fun and games anymore. This is we are at the cusp of a great revival, and this is a revolution, a movement of people of America that are now standing up and wanting this kind of a revolution. Blacks, browns, you name it, across young, old. This is not no longer a sort of like old party versus new party. No, no, it has crossed and transcended barriers and boundaries and things of that nature. Now we are excited about the potential of what the future holds for us as Americans. So they can continue to play politics, but they're the ones that are going to be in a losing situation, and I think they're just going to keep handing Republicans more and more victories. Now, for example, I
Do
think
you agree with 1200?
no lie, we were all excited when Barack came on the scene, but dude kind of fumbled that second term. I think he did. I think I was very excited
I
for.
agree.
I when I still remember when I looked at Barack Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, like it was one of those moments where I was just like, man, no other country would actually do this for a black person. And like I've lived in UK, I've lived in Saudi, I've lived in. There was no way this could have
Tell me
happened
the
in any other
truth.
country.
Do niggas fuck shit up when they get in office?
I don't know if they mess things up, but I think like but there is sort of this attitude that when you don't okay, I think that there was like okay, if Barack Obama was as bold as Trump is, he would have gone down personally, in my opinion, as the greatest president ever. He had
Right.
the ability to do so. And I think to what 1200's point is that he fumbled it huge because he didn't pass a lot of. I remember watching him leaning on the table and saying that well as he's leaving office, the debate of the day was should transgenders be allowed to use bathrooms or not. You understand what I mean? Like imagine the implication when you're the first black president, and when the key issue of your time is that should the bathroom issue should that be a male or female, or how do you classify the gender and things of that nature. I mean, what like Kenya was mocking us. Kenya, where his father is from, they were like, you know what, we don't accept this behavior and attitude. Half of Africa rejected him on that basis. A lot of the world, the only people that really accepted him were these elitist European nations like Denmark and Netherlands and things of that nature. But I mean, who cares about them? Like, he could have left a genuinely good legacy, but no,
Now,
he did not.
let me ask you this. To his credit, he shows up without his wife. Do you think that that was a good faith? Was he supposed to do that, show up to the funeral, the inauguration? Did he buy back a little bit of respect? Because he did for me just a little bit. Because, you know, you got to step up. You
I
can't.
think I think I will give him credit for showing up. Whether his wife showed up or not, she was never the president. She was only we only know Michelle because of Barack.
Yeah.
So if Barack never won, that's it. And whether or not, like as 1200 mentioned, whether it's a medical problem, whether it's a health issue, whether it is a divorce issue, whether it's a personal problem, I want to leave it at a personal realm. I don't want to disrespect or speculate on that. She didn't show up. She didn't show up. It's over. Our president is sworn in. We have billion things that we have to look forward to. Fix roads. We got to fix healthcare system. We got to fix. We got to get money back to the pocket of everyday Americans. We got to fix up the homeless. We have a lot of issues. I don't even want to sit there talk about for the next 10 minutes what Michelle Obama could have, should have done, and this and that. I mean, she's like, what difference does it make to us?
I got a
Right?
question for you. Will Elon overstep his boundaries and kind of f things up a little bit? Because I kind of get the feeling that he could be a fantastic, he could be an all star, he could really go off and really, really make a great name and make the administration great. Or do you think he's going to do something very stupid and then they're going to want to know why did Trump put him in there?
I think Elon is a troll. A lot of the things, the signals, the gesture, all of this, he knows what he's doing because he's a troll. And uh, you know, like Elon is a smart guy. He amongst a room of billionaires and successful businessmen, he is the smartest, if not, and his net worth also reflects that as well. So he's not somebody who does not know how to manipulate the media in his favor. He knows how Trump plays the game, and he's playing it like how Trump plays the game. So I don't think he's going to mess things up. I think a lot of this is just showmanship. A lot of it is just to generate news cycle, get the attention on him, and that's all he is. But I doubt that he's going to mess things up.
He said he's
Yeah,
trying to get us to Mars. All right, let me ask you a few more questions.
yeah, that's true.
We can get caught up the next time, guys. Make sure you check out my boy's channel, Danish Dallas, Danish Danish Dallas. I got a few more questions now. Me personally, I'm very concerned about what's going to happen with Europe. I think he's gonna. You saw the last time. I don't remember. Know if you remember, they were
I
trying
think
to.
this is a great point, man. What 12 under said. We put a flag on it. We claim it. Amen to that.
I agree with that. Let's clap it up for my nigga right there. That's a whole fact. Now let me ask you a quick question. Last time you see they tried to sort of kind of do this photo op with him like in the back. Trump pushed a few people out, fixed his shirt, looked around. You mind your business, bitch. And he just looked back in the camera. Do you believe that that type of posture will happen to Trump again, where they're sort of telling him to get to the back, or would because I kind of get the sense that the first time they thought it was a joke, and now I don't think, in my opinion, that they're gonna try to get to the back Trump. I mean, what say you about that? Is Europe gonna be sort of okay? What do you want, Mr. President? Or are they gonna still be like Donald? What do you want, Donald?
That's the attitude that they have right now because we got them by the balls. Europe is involved in a conflict with Russia. They don't have a lot of leverage. Trump has already gone through. He's battle tested. He's ready. He has survived a lot politically, legally, from an assassination attempt, and I mean, and they're just he's basically I say this with respect. The world is run by gangsters. Trump is the best gangster out there on the world stage. The way he calls people out, the way he talks to them, nobody talks like that. And like they kind of wrap themselves around this like very nice, like sophisticated terminologies and communication styles and whatnot. Like, I like to represent the people of this country, blah blah blah, whatever. And Trump just goes out there. You got a question? Yeah, what is it? He's like, I disagree. And while he's signing documents, that's that kind of bravado, that kind of attitude signals to a lot of people that he's getting a lot done, but he's not a coward. He will take the tough questions, he will deal with it. And now he's got a very good handle on situation. And I think the best things that could have happened to the American public and to Trump was him losing the 2020 election.
You said that
Right.
before. Tell me about why do you say that? This is the wisdom of Miyagi. Tell me what this. Why do you say that?
I say this only because when Trump came in by 2020, I felt that he was still soft in a lot of ways where he was dealing with the the office of the presidency. He was dealing with the how to deal with politicians, how to maneuver through, how to play this game. When in 2020 he lost, what you saw was the other extreme. The Democrats come into power and they showed us what they had to bring to the table, what they were offering. They were offering wars, inflation, making you deny the truth. What your eyes were seeing, they were like, no, no, that's AI generated, that's a lie.
Dildos.
Like, and just these agendas that they kept pushing and shoving down people's throat and things of that nature. And it permeated through every level of society. It impacted a lot of people. So there was a lot of backlash, and when you were trying to raise genuine points and concerns, they were calling you as a liar. And and then we got involved in a lot of conflicts both in the Middle East and Europe and everywhere else. We had a lot of immigration issues, and this exposed us, like people like veterans, like for example in Chicago, people who have been living there got no money, and yet you come into the country illegally. You get healthcare, you get four-star hotels, you get food, you get blankets, you get shelter, you get all of that. And for somebody who's a citizen of our country gets no benefit. And when you stand up and you raise your voice, you're being told, hey, you are a racist and you are a bigot. You should be silent. You should shut down and sit down and stay silent. And that was what the Democrats were offering. So on the flip side of it, what then Trump was dealing with was the legal battles, was the challenges to him, the maneuvering, the flexibility of what they can get away with, assassination attempt, and what the country went through in the 4 years. So by the time he came into office, when he was inaugurated, his attitude had changed completely, because he's like, now I've played the game, I've seen the game, I've survived the game, I've mastered the game. And at this point in time, I'm just going to run circles around them and nobody's going to do anything. And on top of that, I have the mandate as well. And people have now spoken very, very clearly that we do not go back. We do not want to go back to these past 4 years.
Speak to what 1200 just said. John,
Uh,
what's going on, man? John Perez, what's up, baby, in the building?
Trump tweets, gets it done, and or all hell's gonna break loose. Yeah, yeah, exactly. See,
And
he
you said
has
something about that earlier. Did you want to touch on that when you were saying that's the language that people in that area understand?
in Middle East, man, might is right. That is the philosophy of Middle East. Might is right. So when you say, hey, it'd be nice if you please return our hostages, they're gonna be like, this person is weak. But if you say, hey, if you don't do it, I'm gonna destroy your entire nation. I'm gonna overthrow your entire, family. I'm gonna kill your kids and this and that. Now, at that point in time, people are gonna take you seriously.
What's up,
Right.
John? What's going on? He says, "What's up, Clyde?" Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. I mean, I think he knows the game, and he, like I said, that's why I believe that the best thing that could have happened to him was 2020, because if he had won in 2020, you would be going through a situation in the what the Democrats put us through in the past 4 years. We would be going through that situation now. So I'm glad that we got to see both sides of the aisle before deciding that Trump is the best candidate for the job.
All right, I'm gonna ask you two more questions, and then
Yeah.
we go. Uh, so I don't hear anything from Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. It's almost like these guys are waiting to start some shit somewhere. If you're the Democrats, again, we're not looking to go, aha, we're in office. Yeah, what's up now? Me personally, I don't give a shit about what the Democrats doing. We got our own stuff to worry about. Um, make sure everybody subscribe. Make sure you like.
Thank you to all 100. Appreciate you subscribing.
I got to ask you a question. If you're the Democrats, what are you thinking for the first year? How are you going to reboot? How are you going to? Because you can't just say we'll find another candidate. They clearly pissed the American people off. The American people bitch slapped them. They wanted them to feel that they did not appreciate the disrespect, the lying, the weaponizing, the lawfare. They didn't appreciate what they were doing. Did the Democrats catch that message, or are they still going head first with this crazy? Because they did not read the tea leaves. Whatever the sexual agenda they had, and whatever they was throwing at us for 4 years, America wasn't really feeling that.
No, and I think see, Americans are a very generous people. And I say that as somebody who has lived in many different countries. I can tell you that Americans generally are very kind people. They're good people. Genuinely, they're good people. You have bad apples everywhere. You have thieves, robbers, people who are of bad character in every country, every religion, every race, every ethnicity. But Americans, by and large, are genuinely very good people. They're kind-hearted people. They care about their family. They believe in God, things of that nature. You know what I mean? So they have
Yeah,
a good moral compass to a certain degree.
that's a
The
fact.
pro the problem really is that the American people were for you know they were just tired. They were exhausted by this constant battering and ramming of ideas that they did not agree with. A lot of Americans are Christians. They still believe in God. I mean, whether they accept, and this is the thing, right? It was okay up until the point where they were like, oh, these are gay people fighting for gay rights. But when the issue then started moving into the children, that's when people felt like this is our sacred obligation to stand up because these are our kids. That's when it went too far.
It
And
went too
that's the
far.
problem, that they're not learning from their mistakes. And I was of the opinion that next election cycle they would run Gavin Newsom as a presidential candidate. But look at the way he is running Los Angeles with the fire.
Good question.
He has lost. I mean, he has lost everything. So I think that the Republicans most likely will come back and win 2028 as well, because you have literally no one that can represent. Now maybe AOC may run and she may be a potential candidate, but she has only a small Wahhabi based New York following. But outside of that, she's really not. She doesn't have a lot going for her. You got to be very well known on a national level, and she's not that person. When her ideas come to the forefront, she's not going to be able to sustain. She's going to crack under that pressure. Gavin Newsom, he could get away with his charm. He was tall, like slick, whatever. He's a governor, blah blah blah. He talks smooth. But the way, like, they're going to run ad campaigns about the fires in California and Los Angeles,
Oh
and that's
God,
going to burn down his entire campaign.
the homelessness. You're right. I thought you might have had something before when you said he might be able to do it. But you're right. When they run ads on the homelessness, the wildfires, the goddamn gangbanging, pissing and shitting on the curves, public filth, and people ain't going for that shit. You
No,
you
one of the one
city,
of one of the worst places to live in America is Oakland, California.
unfortunately.
What does that tell you? It's in California.
Yeah.
And California is the richest economy in the United States.
I want to ask you one other quick question. Now, the Federal Reserve always seems to. He said JD 2028. I don't know, man. JD's got to show us something, man. Um, the Federal Reserve, they always seem to stick their nose in some shit when we're doing good, and they raise interest rates and things like that. Will Trump have to deal with uh, the Federal Reserve this time around, or are they going to kind of stay in the fucking closet? Excuse my French.
I think that's a very interesting question. I have to see how this plays out, because Trump can control the economy to a certain degree, but the interest rate, that is going to be dictated by how well the economy is performing and what the inflation rate is. So they're going to be a reactive force. Now he can influence the Federal Reserve, but at the end of the day, he has to be aggressive on the economy. And once the economy is set, then you can set the tone and expectation as to what the Federal Reserve needs to do.
Is there any way he can drown them out where they don't even matter? Could he's made a lot of people irrelevant. Can he make the Federal Reserve irrelevant?
He could, but I don't know what the end game of that would be, because if your economy is doing really well and you're trying to bring inflation down, again, the Federal Reserve is basing their rates cooling off period based off how the economy is performing, right? So I don't know how that goes. If he does well on the economy, then they have to, and inflation is down, they have to reduce the rate. So that's the only way I can think of that he would make them irrelevant, by just doing what he does best. And if they're not listening, then he just calls them out, and they have no other they have no other recourse other than just the pressure that Trump is going to apply to them, and say, hey, you have to reduce the rates down. And then that questions their credibility as well, because they're the subject matter experts on cutting rates or increasing rates, right? And if he's saying, no, if you do this, this is what's going to happen, and so on and so forth, then people are going to side with Trump, not with the Federal Reserve. So if Federal Reserve doesn't toe the line properly, is going to lose a lot of its credibility, which is going to, destroy their credibility, and eventually the Federal Reserve's impact.
All right, give us something to think about. Take us away. What can people honestly expect this next 30 days, 60 days? What's going to happen? How's Trump coming? What do you think we're going to see here very shortly?
I think all things good are going to happen. We're going through a very turbulent time, but I think great things are going to happen. If not in the 30 days before this year is out, we're going to see some we're going to feel so proud to be American. I think we have lost a lot of that pride in ourselves, because we have been bogged down by financial crises and I think coming out of it will put us in a very good position as well. If somehow, some way, by the grace of God, we can figure out our health crisis and bring down, health at a reasonable cost where people can have good health care, I think that would be one of the greatest virtues that this country could ever bestow upon the people who don't have, like, a lot of money. But outside of that, I think on every other front we're going to be expanding. We're going to be touching new heights. So I think it's going to be a great year, great month, great year, great 4 years. I do not see anything like I have never been as proud of America as I'm right now. And you know what? At the end of the day, 50 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to be so proud of ourselves because these moments are never going to come back. And we're living through history.
Something real quick. When Trump was talking in the
Peace
Oval
out, 1200.
Office, huh?
No, I said peace out, 1200.
All right, peace out. Listen, I wanted to just real quick take us away. He seems to be bold right now. He's not afraid. Just before we get out of here, tell us about that. Is he the commander in chief right now?
Absolutely.
Okay,
He's not just the commander in chief of America, but he's a dictator to the world right now.
gotcha.
He is the dictator to the world.
Man, Donish, my boy, man, you be going off, man. You guys, listen, man, this guy is a real. He has a big brain.
Yeah.